The story starts with a hooded figure hiding on top of a castle roof, waiting for all the lights to shut off so he can enter the area and kill his target. But before he could jump in, he senses someone behind him and looks to find a black-haired young boy standing on top of one of the towers staring at him from afar. An immediate chill runs down the hooded man, who thinks that this boy must be another hitman just like him. But on a closer look, he realizes that this boy is none other than the legendary silent assassin known for his overpowered abilities. The hooded man realizes that there is no hope for an escape and he must fight his way through this. So, he immediately runs to get a better angle and throws a bunch of sharpened metal spikes at the silent assassin. Unfortunately for him, though, the assassin is too quick and dodges the attack effortlessly before running straight at the hooded man. The man pulls out his dagger and tries to end it in a single thrust, but the black-haired boy manages to block and deflect the attack with his own dagger in the blink of an eye. They go back and forth on the rooftop before the boy expertly disarms his opponent. The hitman is not going to go down so easy, though, as he again throws a bunch of spikes, which the assassin dodges. But this creates an opening for the hooded man to strike. Unfortunately for him, the black-haired boy already thought this through and slips past the attack, appearing behind him. The hooded hitman starts getting desperate as he realizes that the power difference between them is enormous and tries to throw everything he's got at the younger assassin. The boy, however, stays calm, deflecting and blocking every single slash and strike that the hitman threw at him, even blocking his secret hidden shoe blade. With that, the hitman is left without any tricks in his bag, while the assassin simply stabs him in the arm before breaking his legs, leaving him on the ground. The hitman can't believe how effortlessly the boy handled him, but accepts his defeat as a sword falls from the sky, ending his pain forever. With his competition out of the way, the assassin enters the room of his target, who is sleeping on the bed without any clue of the danger he is in. He strengthens his resolve once more and brings up his dagger to stab the target, completing his mission. Just a little while back, this deadly assassin was a normal, lonely teenager named Akira from Japan who went to high school and preferred spending his time by himself, reading mangas on his phone. Most of his classmates never cared about him, but one fateful day, a sudden tear in their reality happens, and him alongside all of his classmates gets transported to a completely different world in the middle of a court. They all get scared, wondering whether it is a dream or some kind of a prank when an old mage arrives through a door, claiming that the royal majesty would like to have a word with them. None of them understand what the hell is happening, while some think that this is some kind of a costume party. But soon the king enters the room with the princess and welcomes them to the new world where they have been called by a special magic ritual. The king immediately gets down to business, claiming that he is the ruler of the biggest human kingdom, which is currently under the threat of an attack from the demons. He claims that only a hero from another world possesses the true power to defeat the demon lord once, and for all otherwise, they all will be doomed for death and destruction. The mage then moves forward, claiming that they need to find who the hero is and instructs everyone to move forward and place their hands on the magic crystal one by one. One of the excited boys goes ahead first, placing his hands on the crystal only to reveal his status, which turns out to be nothing but an animal trainer. He seems disappointed, but the mage tells him not to worry since he still has the stats far beyond the reach of any normal person. One by one, the students learn their status as some become mages, some knights, and some become healers. Akira notices something odd, though, as everyone seems to have the starting stats of 180, whereas his stats as an assassin are 10 times that at 1,800. Finally, the next boy named Sato moves towards the crystal ball and is revealed to be the hero among them all with starting stats of a 1,000. The old mage congratulates him, claiming that the starting stats of every single person is sealed at maximum 500. But since he is a hero, his stats are double that. This proves that something is wrong with Akira's stats, as his stats seem to be nearly twice that of the hero himself. Everyone cheers for Sato since he is the most popular guy in the class, while one of Akira's classmates pushes him to reveal his stats to everyone as well. Akira thinks about the situation that they are in, and considering that they know nothing about this world or how it operates, he feels like it's stupid to reveal such an abnormal number and he should first get more information about it. With everyone's stats sorted and the hero revealed, the old mage claims that they will all be given weapons and other equipment according to their classes and sends them off to their rooms for the night. While returning back to their rooms, he also notices a hidden camera, which means that these people are monitoring them, which is definitely fishy. He decides to use his concealed presence ability to slip past them. Once in his room, he dresses up appropriately before going out on the balcony, soaking in the fact that he really is in another world. He decides that he should soon start working on getting more information, and with a jump or two, he scales the wall to the top of the castle without breaking a sweat. He looks back at his own insane abilities. He suddenly notices an open window and sneaks his way into the work chamber of the king himself, who asks the princess whether everything is going according to the plan. The princess replies that the kids from the other world don't seem to have any idea about what's happening, and none of them have much magical abilities to be of any issue. The king tells her to keep an eye on them before before focusing back on his work. With his concealed presence skill, Akira is basically invisible as he stands beside the king, wondering how easy he could kill this man right now, but decides against it. The next morning, Akira sits down on the breakfast table with the rest of his classmates who seem to have no worries at all, while Sato, the popular good guy, stands up and gives a cringe about how they all are much stronger than they were in their own world, so they should all focus on helping the people of this world with their abilities and fight against the demon lords just as the king instructed. Everyone in the class echo their agreement with a stupid plan while Akira contemplates whether he should reveal what he has discovered, since these idiots are assuming that the king and the princess are their allies. After breakfast, the students are all assembled in the training ground where the Lord Commander of the Royal Army named Saren introduces himself and claims that since they are all newbies, he would be helping them train, so that after a month they could go down a dungeon and actually test their abilities. Sato immediately rallies everyone, claiming that they will do their best while Akira is still concealing himself and silently observing the circus from afar. He decides to go on his own to get some more information, but to his surprise, he gets followed by Saren, who hands over the class to his lieutenant, Gil. Akira wonders whether his concealed presence ability wore off or has a maximum duration to be active, but Saren simply smiles, claiming that he doesn't need to worry as his abilities seem to be working fine. He reveals that he himself is gifted with mystical eyesight, which allows him to see the difference in temperature. So basically, he is a walking thermal camera. Akira gets on edge and puts his hand on the blade, asking whether they are going to have any trouble, but calms him down, claiming that he has no intention of outing him to the king or the princess. Akira is still skeptical and asks whose side he is actually on, but Saren replies that it's much more complicated and can't be explained so easily. Realizing that he is not lying, Akira lowers his guard slightly and mentions that he wants to visit the library to gain as much information as possible. When Saren asks what level is his conceal ability, Akira reveals that it's already maxed out, which is pretty crazy, but the rest of his abilities are only level 1, and he has no idea how to increase it. Smiles, claiming that he can help him with that since he will not get what he wants from the library anyways. Akira wonders how much to trust him, but he can't deny the fact that the thought of getting stronger isn't exciting. He controls his emotions and asks Saren how exactly does he get back home, but Saren replies that even he has no clue about that. But he knows that Akira needs to grow as strong as possible since he can only find a way to get back home if he stays alive. Akira claims that he doesn't like taking help for free, so Saren replies that to pay him back, Akira can tell him more about his own world. This seems to do the job as Akira shakes hands with Saren, the first person in this world he decides to trust. Soon he starts learning about other races in this world like the beast people and the elves who have their own separate continents. He also continues to train his physical and mental abilities, claiming that training is the only way to level up his skills and get better, while his class also trains separately under the tutelage of guilds. One evening he goes to meet with Saren as he finds a book which he is sure is written by the Lord Commander. Saren grabs the book and smiles, claiming that it is indeed a plan to overthrow the king written by him and disguised as a cookbook. Saren reveals that the king is a broken man beyond repairs who is going to do something really crazy in order to change how the world operates, and Saren can't let it happen. At the same time, he is the commander of the royal knights who have a holy duty to protect the king. Akira understands his problem and reveals that he had the opportunity to kill the king the very night they were summoned here, but he couldn't bring himself to use his dagger. Saren replies warmly that he made the right decision, as just because he is an assassin doesn't mean that he has to commit murders. Finally, a month passes by and the heroes are all ready to enter the dungeons and are greeted by almost all the city, clapping and cheering for them. In the distance, however, Akira notices a hooded girl glaring at them, so he uses his skills to appear behind her, catching her off guard. He asks why is she staring at them with such rage, and the blue-haired girl replies that everyone in the city is hailing him and his mates as the heroes, but she knows the sacrifice which was made in order to summon them here. Akira admits that he has no idea about any sacrifice, but just like an NPC, she tells him to figure it out by himself and moves away. They enter the dungeon where monsters are appearing from every corner, and every single stone seems to be a trap, revealing even more monsters. The students all look tired and weak, while Akira wards off as many attackers as possible before asking Saren whether they should return. Saren replies that they have done well enough for the day and uses his divine skill to clear a path in front of them. Gil instructs them all to run towards the exit, but they all find themselves still underground and blocked by a bunch of monsters. Suddenly, the cringe Lord Sato remembers the smoke bomb the princess gave them, claiming that this will ward off the monsters. So, he throws the bomb towards them, but to his horror, emerges from the smoke. Gil arrives at the scene, shocked to see a minotaur at the upper floor as they are supposed to be much deeper in the dungeons. Akira immediately jumps into action, dodging the blow and jumping on top of the minotaur, stabbing him in the head. But to his surprise, his dagger snaps into little pieces, forcing him back. Sato stays on the ground, too weak to lift his sword, but Akira tells him to stay back as he is supposed to be the hero who defeats the demon lord. Commander Saren arrives at the scene, realizing how bad of a situation they are really in when Akira suggests he use his special ability and leave the rest up to him. Saren tells him that it could be dangerous, but after seeing the resolve in Akira's eyes, he decides to go ahead and cast the spell. Immediately, a huge lightning bolt shocks the Minotaur. While Akira positions himself behind the monster, ready to strike, Akira activates his shadow magic and sends sharp spikes made of pure darkness towards the Minotaur, who is still struggling with Saren's lightning bolt. However, the Minotaur manages to break free of it soon and targets Akira, unaware that he has already cast his spell. As the Minotaur swings his heavy axe towards Akira, his hand is pierced by the dark spikes. Akira pierces its body with even more spikes, and once he is confident that they can't break free from them so easily, he starts pulling it down into the dark abyss under its feet. The Minotaur is swallowed by the abyss and the spikes uproot its head right before it completely vanishes. Everyone is stunned to see that Akira managed to defeat such an incredibly strong monster. But, then suddenly his powers go out of control. Everyone panics as he tries to retract the shadow spikes, but luckily Saren steps up to help him calm down. Thanks to his guidance, Akira manages to regain control of his power, deactivating his shadow magic. He feels lucky that he is still alive, and Saren tells him that he really exceeded his expectations today. Once they return from the dungeon, Saren thanks for saving everyone's life, but he doesn't feel that he deserves all the credit. He says that without Saren there to back him up, he couldn't have defeated the Minotaur, especially because he hadn't been able to cast shadow magic properly in training. Saren remarks that it is the first time he has heard about an extra skill called shadow magic, and he agrees that Akira can barely control the spell right now. He warns him to be careful about using it the next time and then decides to give him a samurai sword that the first hero forged himself. Akira takes the sword and asks Saren why doesn't he give it to the current hero instead of him, and the commander replies that Sato already has the holy sword. However, the bigger reason is that Saren stole the sword from the royal treasury, and giving it to the stupid hero will get him arrested in no time. Akira gladly accepts the sword and then finds that there are some inscriptions near the hilt. The first one reads Yato no Kami, and in the next inscription, the first hero wishes that his sword may guide his successor in times of trouble. Akira says that he would have liked to meet the first hero. Talking about the hero, Akira remembers the curse that was cast on Sato and how they couldn't break it no matter how many times the enchanter tried. He feels something fishy is going on and Saren has a theory about it. The person behind the curse is actually the princess who is trying to turn Sato into her puppet using a dark magic ritual. However, Akira arrives there right on time and destroys the magic crystal she was using to perform the ritual. The princess gets mad and asks how dare he enter a woman's bedroom without her permission, and Akira simply points his sword at her, saying that a witch who curses other people is not a woman. He asks her why the hell is she doing this, and the princess replies that it is all for the sake of the king. Akira asks her why is she obeying the king, and the princess repeats the previous statement with eyes that seem devoid of life and reason. Akira realizes this too and leaves the room, but the princess has more magic crystals that she plans to use to curse the rest of the students. Meanwhile, Akira takes the crystal to Saren's place and tells him that he was right about the princess cursing Sato. Seems like it is not a new thing because Saren remarks that she has not yet given up on her evil acts. He asks Akira if he showed his face to the princess, and he affirms, saying that he wanted to have a proper conversation with her, but she was not very good with her words. Saren replies that the princess is no more than a puppet for the king right now and then tells Akira to not sleep inside the palace tonight. Akira is curious about the reason, and Saren explains that the princess can curse anyone, but not him since he never revealed his status to her. That means she will try to get him killed instead, and Saren wants him to stay away from the palace. Akira asks if he is not going to scold him for carelessly showing his face, and the commander replies that teenagers are supposed to be impulsive and reckless, and it is the duty of adults like him to cover it up. The next morning, Akira wakes up to a commotion coming from the palace, and once he reaches there he finds a huge crowd gathered. He notices that Sato was freed from the curse and asks what is going on here. Sato replies that Saren is dead and Akira can't process that news. He runs through the crowd to see Saren's dead body lying on the floor with a dagger through his heart. Akira is devastated at losing his only friend in this world, but his classmates tell him to stop acting because they believe he is the killer. They point out that the dagger used to kill Saren belongs to him, and Akira reminds them that his dagger shattered in the fight against the Minotaur. However, no one is willing to listen to him, and they accuse him of being shady and untrustworthy ever since they all came here. Akira wonders if they are under the princess's curse, and he is proven right by the way they all blame him. Only Sato comes up to his defense, saying that they need to investigate the matter thoroughly. But the king declares that Akira will be executed for assassinating their beloved commander. He orders his guards to take him down, but Akira uses his skill to hide his presence to search for him all over the palace. Akira goes to Gil, who reveals that the elite assassination unit killed Saren under direct orders from the king. The assassination squad is after him too, but Saren anticipated it and he has prepared travel supplies in his room. Gil tells Akira Akira to take the supplies and flee, and he thanks the vice commander before rushing to Saren's room to grab the items, but forgetting a smaller pouch in a hurry. At night, the king talks about how Saren went down more easily than he thought, and now there is no one who can oppose them. The princess tells him that the brainwashing of all the students except the hero is complete, and now they just need a reason to start a war with their neighboring kingdoms. The king is pleased to hear this, and he tells the princess to dispatch the assassins after Akira to make sure that he doesn't survive long enough to become a threat to them. Meanwhile, Akira is hiding in the dungeon because Saren once told him that it is the best place to avoid people chasing after him, but the only thing it lacks is clean drinking water. The dungeon is also the best place to level up and improve one's skills, but most people don't do it because it is too dangerous. Saren had warned Akira that even his presence concealing skill won't protect him from high-level monsters who have incredibly sharp senses, but if he levels up enough, he will be able to erase his scent and even his body temperature to fool almost anyone. Following his words, Akira begins going deeper into the dungeon, fighting powerful monsters like flamehounds who explode upon dying. Akira remembers that Saren once told him about the special skill that everyone receives after reaching level 100 and how it makes them really stronger. Defeating the dungeon bosses is the quickest way to get more experience, but it is also a life or death battle that he cannot run away from once it starts. Akira is determined to grow strong quickly at all costs, and after defeating the flamehounds, he enters the boss room where a gigantic demon lion is waiting for him. The lion monster immediately starts attacking him and Akira dodges everything, but he doesn't notice that the monster's tail is a snake that can spit venom as he is caught off guard by the venom. The monster stabs him with its claw. Akira realizes that he is lucky to even be alive right now, but he doesn't plan to give up yet as the lion flings him away. Akira decides to go all out and unleashes his shadow magic. The dark spikes immediately pierce the monster and rip it to pieces, but Akira can't control it for long as he passes out. However, a male voice comes from inside him, saying that the master has taken too much damage, so the shadow magic will be activated forcefully. The shadow quickly moves closer to his body and enters healing mode using the mana stored in his shadow magic to heal his injuries. Back in the palace, Sato tells his classmates that they should head out to defeat the demon lord now, but most of them tell him that it is not the right time since the knight commander just died. Sato insists that they need to start moving now or it will be too late, but most of the students are under the curse and they tell him it is pointless. Sato declares that he will go alone in that case, but fortunately, there are some people who are willing to come with him. Sad doesn't understand why they would choose to follow him when they are cursed, but they are confident that they have gotten over their curse. The enchanter says that she has been able to differentiate between cursed and normal people and she is sure that everyone here is free from the curse. The tall swordsman Asa takes credit for it, saying that he vaguely remembers cutting some strange crystals in an unknown room. He doesn't remember how he got there or how he found a samurai sword, but ever since then, few students were free from the curse. Turns out it was Gil who made that happen. His skill suggestion is more powerful than any curse when it comes to making his target do just one simple action. He is glad that he could save at least a few students because that was Saren's last order, and now he can only wish them luck for their journey. Meanwhile, Asahi thinks that they need to team up with Akira as soon as possible because he was the only one who knew the truth when they were all cursed. He remembers the time from the real world when he found Akira working a part-time job at a railway crossing. Akira asked him to keep it a secret because he didn't want his classmates and little sister to find out about his job, and Asahi had no issue with that. As they started talking about their sisters, they learned that the girls were best friends and that gave them a reason to be on good terms with each other. Back in the dungeon, Akira wakes up dreaming about the incident too, and he wonders if Asa is safe. He suddenly notices that his body is feeling a lot better than it should and opens his status to find that his stats have gone up and his HP is back to full. Not only that, his shadow magic skill has leveled up even though he used it only once and he can't understand how all that is possible. However, he doesn't have time to think about it and decides to keep going deeper into the dungeon. He soon reaches the 75th floor of the dungeon and a slime monster immediately attacks him. Akira is surprised to see a slime on lower floors and immediately slashes it, and surprisingly a pretty elf falls out of the monster's remains. Akira is confused by it and he decides to use the skill called World Eye that he never got the chance to use before. The moment he uses the skills, he sees a lot of horrifying things that almost make him throw up, but he cancels the skill before it can overload his mind with new information. Just then, the elf girl Amelia wakes up and Akira asks her if she is alright. She replies that she is fine, but Akira doesn't trust her because he saw her status earlier and found that her HP had dropped to just 2% earlier. He also knows that Amelia has the World Eye skill too and she has already used it on him. She calls him by his name and asks what this place is, and he tells her that it is a dungeon where he is trying to level up. He then starts lecturing her about how it is not good manners to spy on other people's status, but she suddenly collapses into his arms. Akira finds that she has a fever and he brings her up to the 69th floor to recover. recover. Amelia is startled as she wakes up, but Akira tells her to drink water so that she stays hydrated. He gives her porridge to eat after that, and she asks him why did he bring her all the way to the 69th floor from the 75th floor. Akira replies that this was the nearest floor with a water source and then asks her to get some rest. She thanks him for saving her and then reveals that she is a princess, but Akira doesn't really care about that. Soon after that, Amelia fully recovers and joins Akira on his journey as he reaches the 80th floor of the dungeon. She uses her gravity magic to assist him in battle, but he is not really happy with her following him into danger. Amelia tells him that she is going the same way and then confidently declares that she is strong enough to look after herself. Akira has no choice but to take her along now, and soon they enter the boss room where they find a terrifying dragon ready to kill any intruders.